Cairo, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on my podcast. I really appreciate this. You're an introduction through my son.
Right.
Because he really admired you. You guys belong to the same organization.
Yeah.
Right? What's the name of that organization?
EO, Entrepreneurial Organization.
Right. And he said he was really pleased when he turned around and saw you because you're really quiet. And you sat off in the back, didn't say anything. And then he said, Dad, this guy is so stealth.
Interesting.
Because he prides himself on being that way too. And I pride him on being that way. I told him if I had the choice, that's how I would be.
Yeah.
What I'd like for you to do is tell me a little bit about yourself, Cairo.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing, it's interesting, right? Because I'm not even sure if I'm quiet, but maybe I am. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, in that type of meeting when I first met your son, like, you know, it's all about fitting in, right? Like, you don't come in like, I don't know anything. So it's really about just sort of stepping in, fitting in, understanding where you are, which is what I was probably trying to do. But about me, I guess my background, originally from New York, been in Tokyo 12 years, started my own marketing consultancy about 6 years ago. Been doing that and, you know, just really trying to make good things happen with work.
Right, but when you say doing that, you're taking me through your office.
Yeah.
And one of the first things you see when you come into your office is a plaque you have up against the wall.
Yeah.
Now tell me a little bit about that plaque.
It's funny, right? Because for me, like, that's an award that we've got for Campaign Asia, which is a magazine across Asia that recognizes the advertising and marketing industry in particular. And we've won awards for them 4 years in a row for being a very good agency or consultancy in Japan, which obviously we're proud of, right? But I think what's interesting is that part of the reason we do that is because we want our clients to know, like, that we're decent. But it's not about the award, right? Like, so I even honestly, I don't even see that much because it's not like I go every day we kiss the plaque or whatever. But it's nice to be recognized, but partly the reason we do it is so that, you know, we're not toiling in obscurity, hopefully, so that some people know that other people know that we know what we're doing, you know?
Now, something I should let everyone know that's watch this right now where we are. We're on top of your office building. This is a 4-story building?
Yep.
4-story building in the middle of Tokyo.
Yep.
This is actually the Juban.
Yep.
By no means is it low rent area. I mean, so you have to be doing something to get here.
Yeah.
And you were just, man, you make me feel so proud because first of all, your appearance is not orthodox for Japan.
Right.
This place is very, very conservative.
Yeah.
So I think that was something else that really intrigued my son, as it does me.
Yeah.
That you brought, if anyone's looking at you, they think you are a hip hop singer, you're into hip hop.
I get musician a lot.
That's what they would think right away.
No doubt.
They would never think that you're doing the kind of business you're doing.
Right.
So before we get into why you came here, how do people respond to you that way in business? Do you always dress the way that you do now when you go in on a business deal?
I mean, two funny things, right? Like, one, in terms of like my hair or whatever, like, I started doing that back in the US, right? Like, I mean, I didn't come to Japan and be like, I'm gonna grow dreads or whatever. I mean, to me, I think it's important to be yourself. Like, you can't be excellent at anything without being yourself. So part of that, I think, is, you know, people will go, okay, he's gonna be different the second they see me, but then, okay, we got that out the way. So I'm not gonna fool you later. Like, I show up in a 3-piece suit and you think I'm gonna come one way. We've established those grounds when I walked in the door that, all right, he's gonna be a little bit different. And so I think that's cool, and I think it's about being yourself. The other thing, though, I think, like, I've actually gotten more casual. Like, when I was first in Japan, you know, you brand new. I used to wear suits to every meeting, super, like, you know, try to look right. My hair is still long or whatever. But my boss at the time was in a regional role, and this dude, like, we go to this client meeting. We're doing a pitch in Korea, flying to Korea. I'm all suited up, looking right. He comes in with jeans, no jacket, and he's looking at me like I'm the crazy one, right?
No, is this guy Japanese, Korean, or what?
This guy's Indian. He was in a role across the region, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, he's like, dude, you gotta relax, you know, you gotta just be yourself. And I'm like, and I'm still new to Asia. He's been working across Asia for however long. So that also helped me go, okay, well, I'm also free to be myself even in Japan. Do you know what I mean? And so far, it's worked out.
So you do go to meetings dressed the way that, you know, dressed in Levi's? Will you do that?
I try to step it up from Levi's.
Levi's,
so
okay.
I'm just playing. Nah.
But do you?
Yeah. No, I mean, if I go to a business meeting, I probably wear nice jeans. You
Okay,
know, like
right.
if it's more corporate, like I'll throw in a blazer with that for sure.
Gotcha.
You know,
Okay.
but I'll probably wear in jeans and a blazer. You
Right.
know,
Right.
which again, like I think, to me, it's about showing, it's about being respectful, right? Like, so I think what I learned in, you know, working in marketing in general and advertising, people like you see creative guys, they'll rock into meetings dressed however, right? But they're the creative guys that can get away from it. I'm not the creative guy. I'm the account guy. I'm the suit, right? But I think clients don't necessarily care, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but they're not. I think today it's less about how you particularly dress, but whether you make an effort.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like whatever your style is, whatever your fashion, it's important to show the client that you're making an effort. But I think like in the creative industry, which we exist in, as well as the strategic industry, people expect that you make an effort, but you're gonna be yourself.
Now, when you say make an effort, in what way? What do you mean?
I mean, like in terms of dress. In terms of
Okay.
dress, it's not a like I don't. You try to step it up and show the client that, you know, I'm trying to look nice, but it's
Okay.
not about looking corporate.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to put on the tie for sure, unless that's what everyone else is doing, and that's the kind of environment you're going into. Would you ever do that?
I mean, I've worn ties. Yeah. In fact, I like ties.
Yeah.
I don't, but I might have the jeans on still. Do you know
I
what I
got
mean?
you. I
I
got
might have
you.
the jeans on still.
I got you. That's
So.
interesting. So tell me, you say you hail from New York. Tell me a little bit about your experience. What got you to Japan in the first place? What got you to come here?
So just brief background. So from New York, and because I'm a New Yorker, you got to be clear. I'm from the Bronx, not Brooklyn, not Queens, not Manhattan. I'm from the Bronx. And basically, I grew up in the Bronx, lived there most of my life up until like 25. And then I ended up in Brooklyn for, you know, a few years, 10 years. And after that, like I sort of hit a point where, from a career perspective in the US, I felt like I had to wait, you know, and you get to certain levels in your career where it's a plateau, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the process. Like, I'm good enough here, and I was in a reasonably senior role in an agency in New York, an advertising agency. But I wasn't going to get to the next level, which is really what I wanted, that soon. You got to wait. You know what I mean? You got to build more experience. You got to build more relationships. You got to build time. Nothing wrong with it. But I'm saying to myself, what am I going to do while I'm waiting? Am I just going to wait? You know, like so. If you're not going to grow this way, there's other ways that you can grow in your
Okay.
personal life, right?
Uh-huh.
And so for me, that was about like I had spent 3 months shortly before I was thinking about that in Peru. I had done a sabbatical in Peru, and like that was my first time spending time overseas in an extended way, and I loved it. And I was like,
Well, you speak Spanish?
I spoke better Spanish back then. I'm
Okay.
not going to say I spoke it,
Okay,
but
but you can understand
I
more.
get by.
You can get by.
I get by a little bit back then, you know.
Okay.
Like now it's mixed up with my Japanese, and now the only thing I really speak is English.
Okay.
But yeah. So I was thinking about like I really enjoyed that time overseas, and I'm not moving for a while here. I'm at this level, which again, it's not bad, but I want to get to this level, but that's going to take some time. So if I'm not growing this way, maybe I can grow personally, different experiences. And I had been out to Japan for one of my friend's weddings, like maybe 5 or 6 years before that. And I was like, that's interesting. Like, I don't even know if I liked it, but it was, this place is fascinating. So I was like, let me try it, you know? And so I came out here on a tourist visa. Like I had quit my job in New York. I took a year off in New York, just did some personal stuff, and then came out here and decided to try to find a job out here, you know?
In advertising. In advertising.
Yeah. So I mean, I've only really ever done advertising and marketing my whole career.
Right.
So then I came out, just interviewed at a bunch of different agencies. Took me about 6 months, 5 months. Got a job at an agency out here and was there for 6 years, and then doing our own thing for the last 6. So.
You started your own company 6 years after you started working here.
Yeah.
So how'd that come about?
Um,
Because everybody has their own story about how that happened. You just don't come here 6 years and all of a sudden start your own company and end up in the most expensive place in Tokyo in a 4-story
Yeah,
office building.
that's what we
I'm
call.
sorry.
That's what we call good luck. That's
Right,
what we
oh,
call
yeah,
good
yeah.
luck.
Take a little bit more than good luck.
That's the
I don't want anyone out
definition
there
of good luck,
thinking. I don't want anyone thinking you can come to
Yeah.
Japan and have that kind of
Yeah,
luck.
yeah.
So how'd that happen?
No, I mean, like, look, I think for me, I've always wanted my own company, right? Like
Okay.
from the time I
Okay,
was,
this is something you did aspire to do.
yeah, from the time I was like 6 or whatever. Like I remember me and my older sister, we were kids, we talk about it, right? We talk about it like we was gonna run this business thing together. She was gonna do this part, I was gonna do this. So that was always in my.
What about your father and mom? Do they have their own businesses?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. But like, I mean, I think like, so my mom and dad worked for the city in New York, you know? My mom's a teacher, my dad worked for the transit authority, the train systems in New York. But my grandfather, my mom's father, always worked for himself, right? So like, when I was a kid, like he had a, what do you call it? Like a little diner type place that he used to run like in the Bronx, like, you know, 2 blocks from where we live. So I used to always be there from the time I was like 3 to like 7. And then he opened up a dry cleaner also in the Bronx.
Okay.
But I'd be working in this dry cleaning place when I was like, you know, 10 to like 15 or so, like every weekend. So to me, I've always seen that nonetheless, like not necessarily directly from my parents, but I've seen that from them. And I always wanted that. I can't even tell you why me and my sister were talking about that. We were like 8, 10.
But wasn't there a certain amount of pride you had when you knew you were working in your grandfather's cleaners?
Yeah.
And when you did the restaurant, you knew that none of the other kids had anything like that.
Yeah.
When they came to this cleaners, it was your grandfather.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's it's you know, I mean, I don't know how people see their parents, or obviously different ways, or their family. But yeah, it was my he ran the place. It was like my cousin worked there. I would be there sometimes, like my grandma, and like that was the business that they had. Like I never wanted to go in the dry cleaning business, but of course, like I've never seen my grandfather work for anyone else, you know? So and not there's anything wrong with that either. But for whatever reason, I always aspired to it, you know? And so like that was always in the back of my mind. When I was like 25, I tried to start a company that, you know, I didn't really have the focus. I didn't really know what I was doing.
This is back in the Bronx.
Back in New York. Yeah. In fact, in the Bronx at the time.
Right.
So I tried to start that, but I didn't have it all together, right? I didn't know exactly how to do it. And I think part of starting a business is commitment to that business, right? Like you can't start like, I hope this works. You gotta go 100% in, right? And at the time I wasn't really, I didn't know, my mind wasn't there. So that didn't work out. And then, you know, having opportunities when I was in Japan to do that, it fit perfectly because it was just what I always wanted to do. And you know, it's almost different, right? Like when you think, like for me, key moments in my life when I first moved to Japan, I was nervous. Like I was an adult. I was like mid-30s, had been out, had a career in New York, I had whatever. And I was like, am I gonna go? Am I gonna move? Like, and you start thinking, well, yeah, I'm not getting any younger, right? Like, so if I'm not gonna do it now, when am I gonna do it? And you have to ask yourself, right? Am I serious about things that I say are important in my life? Like, and for me, like living overseas, traveling, it's important, but are you gonna do it? You know what I mean? Or are you just gonna talk it? And so for me, that was a critical moment when I decided to move to Japan. Not because of Japan, but to challenge myself. Am I gonna live up to the bullshit I keep telling myself?
Well, how's your family feeling about this, particularly your sister that you talk to all the time?
Yeah.
Who I'm sure you're pretty close with.
Well, I'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing when I started this company, right? Like, so you asked me why did I start it?
Right.
It's like, it was the same point where like, all right, so now I've been in Japan for 6 years, like I'm even older. Starting a company has always been one of my goals. And the question is, well, are you gonna do it or are you gonna keep talking about it? Are you gonna, because I could find a different job. There's many different things you could do. But finally, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and be like, all right, I'm gonna do it or shut up, right? And so, did it, you know?
Did you have a partner when you did it at the beginning?
Nah.
This is all just you.
So, 2 things. One, no, I didn't. So I didn't have a partner. So in terms of ownership and all of that, that's something, you know, I was 100% accountable for.
Okay.
But I did have a team, right? So some guys from my previous company, my guys, I mean, women, I should use that term more gender neutral, so apologies. But some people from my old company, like, I don't think I could have started it without their support, right? So I went to them and said, look, we have this opportunity. I think I'm gonna go do this. Who's anyone? Are you guys willing to follow me on that? And they were like, yeah, we'll go with you on that. And that made it so much easier for me to do. And that also gave me a different level of motivation because it's one thing, if I screw up, I'll take the hit. I can't screw up when I got other people depending on me. So that makes me even sharper, I think, in how I do the job, you know?
It also spreads the risk too, because people are always worried about the risk.
Yeah.
But the thing is, life is life.
Yeah.
But if you have a team, you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
That's why they have all these terms like One man's not an island.
No, no doubt.
You
no
need
doubt.
to have people around you.
Yeah,
and you got a good team too.
People who believe in you and people who, whatever. And I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful for them because there is no relative without all of us who started it at that day. Right. And then, the teams continued to grow.
So how many people are with you right now?
Right now, so we started with 5, now we're about 25, 26.
25.
So.
And I think you kind of mentioned to me that you don't see that really changing too much because of COVID, and maybe it's going to change some, but because of COVID and everything, now that you don't have to be necessarily in the office.
Yeah, well, I think
you might grow. Yeah, I guess you.
Yeah. So the way I see it is this, like, because I think both is true, right? Like, one, it's really interesting because obviously because of COVID, changes your whole real estate plan. How much space do you need? Whatever, that all changes. But the other thing that I think that is interesting to me is that the idea of the company's relative, right? And relative for relationships. And it's all about how do you create better connection between brands and their consumers. So it's not about a transaction. It's not about a promotion. It's about, if I'm a McDonald's customer or a Coca-Cola customer, whatever brand, then what does that mean? What does that mean for the brand? What does that mean for the consumer in a way that people feel that there's value in that engagement? And so we try to think about long term about that, right? But for me, that idea of relationships is not just some marketing principle, right? It's not the secret sauce where we stand up like, well, our approach to marketing is it's something you got to live.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so living that means that as a company, we need to understand each other. We need to have a connection. We're not transacting with each other either because that's not going to work. We've got to value the relationship that we have, right?
How do you, that's the key to any business, but how do you do that? How do you build that?
Well, one, I think it takes time, but I think one of the keys though to me is also scale, right? So when you said about growth, if we become too big and you just become some other dude in the hallway, like I used to work at American Express in New York, I'd be on the elevator with people I'd never seen before. And one dude would be like, hey, good to see you. I saw you in that meeting. I'm like, who? Like, because I only saw him in that one meeting. He ain't my teammate. Right, you know what I mean? Right. And so when I think about how we evolve the company, I don't want a company in any given office that's massive where people don't know each other. I want tight, high-performing teams who value each other's success and value the client's success. Do you know what I mean? And so what I think we're trying to do is, hold ourselves accountable internally for that type of culture, to how we relate to each other, how we connect, how we understand each other, so that we can project that externally. Do you know what I mean?
There's some key things that you do that you could just run off real quick, like key 3 things that you do to make sure that you might have in your mind that your team stays close, that are important for you.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think there's some things that, like you said, that are normal, right? But you have to live it, and you have to live it in context, right? So obviously there's whatever team meetings and making sure the teams all trust each other in that. There's obviously the dialogue like between manager and individual. There's also, to me, I think one of the things that we have that I personally believe is a value that we're trying to carry in the work that we do and the way that we review and evaluate people is this principle of caring, right? And by caring is this, right? And I'll give you the long story real quick. I was trying to figure out to myself, why is this relationship thing so important, right? Why do relationships matter? I know they do, but why, right? And I'm trying to articulate it for myself. And I tend to think of things in human terms, like your family, whatever. And I realized the reason why they matter is because you go harder. You know what I mean? Like, if I care about my mom, I ain't gonna let her down. I'm gonna run through that wall for my mom. Now, that dude down the street, I'm not gonna push him over, but how far am I gonna go for him? Because I don't care, right?
That's right.
So care is the driver that pushes people to create more value. And that comes out of context of relationships. So one of the things we're trying to do specifically is to embed the idea of caring and how we work. And so judging people on whether care is demonstrated. And care, we try to contextualize that as care is not just emotional, right? Like, because care is like I was telling somebody, like we all say we care about things, like we care about the homeless. But what you gonna do? Like, you ain't giving them a home. You don't care about the homeless. Maybe you're concerned. Like, oh, that's bad. You're concerned, but you're not really, you ain't doing anything. So concern is good, but that's not really caring, right? Because if you care about something, if you care about your mom, you're gonna do something, you're gonna act, right? So to care, you have to not only be concerned, but you also have to act. But then you take responsibility for the outcomes of that action. Like, it's not just, if my mom needs something, I'm gonna make sure she gets what she needs. That's on me, right? And that's sort of taking responsibility when you really care for something. And I'm gonna make sure she gets what she needs, not at this level, but at the best level, because that's my mom. So it becomes about committing to excellence, right? So we're trying to have, within how we treat each other as a team, how we deliver work, our people need to demonstrate care, including myself, including everyone, which is being concerned, taking actions, being responsible, and having a commitment to excellence. And if we can care, I think that unlocks greater value, because again, like, you don't go hard for your moms in a way that you're not for someone you don't care about, you know?
Yeah, just what you just said now, I can see why you've been able to achieve these awards and everything, because getting that across to people, that is one of the best keys you could ever use.
Yeah.
To open up the caring idea. They go after them. That's really good. I like that. Okay, now tell me, how'd your sister feel about you trying to come over here?
Well, you know what? So I'll tell you a sad story. Unfortunately, my older sister passed away before I came out.
Sorry
right?
to hear that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But she passed away before I came out. But I'll tell you, like, so my older sister, like, when I was a kid, like, and I got two sisters, younger sister as well. But my older sister, like, she's 2 years older than me. So it's like, that's my partner. You know what I mean? Like, we did everything together. Our names used to be like one name. Like, people like Kim Kai. Like, her name was Kim, my name's Cairo. Kim Kai. And like, well, which one are you talking about? Like, don't matter. Kim Kai, it's the same thing, right? Like, that's just how it was. So, like, obviously losing her for me, for my whole families, like, I mean, you know, I still think, you can't stop thinking about it. But at the same time, I know my sister, and I know, like, what she would want for me. Like, before I went to Peru, she was starting to get some concerns about her health. We didn't know how it was going to go. But, you know, she encouraged me to do what I would need to do for me at that point in time. So, you know, I think she'd be happy with what I'm doing, you know?
I know she would.
You know, and I think even the rest of my family, my little sister, my mom and dad, of course they wish they saw me more. You know, I wish I saw them more too. But I think they're good with that. I got to be me, but they know I still love them, and it's all good.
When they see this, they're going to even feel better.
Yeah,
Listen, I guarantee that.
Yeah.
No, they feel good about where you are. There's no doubt about it, because you've come through them, and you've done something. I'm sure this had to be the furthest thing from their imagination, as it was yours. You didn't have any idea you'd be coming to Japan.
I never thought I'd be in Japan, but like I think I don't know. You know you're one of those people, like, and I'm not saying anything special about me, but I think my family was just like, you know, he just think a little different, you know. So I think they would have thought I thought a little different. So, I mean, I can't say they're 100% surprised.
Who are some of the clients that you've had?
So we've worked with a range of clients. I'm not going to go into any names if that's all right, but like, you know, FMCG for the most part, usually multinationals, right? So FMCG has been a big part of our portfolio. We've done some work both in Japan, also in Hong Kong, also support in the U.S. Insurance we've done some retail clients. What else have we done? It's a range. You know, you're starting to get old, starting to forget. It's hard to keep in my mind and whatnot. But we've worked, of course, most major sectors. Definitely insurance, retail, FMCG, beauty category, and a couple others.
But you told me before when we spoke the first time we got together, you market anything.
Yeah, no doubt.
If it's something, so you see, you don't have a limit to it. So you don't specialize you specialize in marketing. So it doesn't matter what the product is, basically.
I like to think so, right?
You're
Like, because I think, and this is how I think. It's interesting because I don't think our clients think the same way, and that's cool. I don't think the industry thinks the same way, but I think we try to stand behind how we think, and hopefully they accept us as we are, right? But I think that for me and for us, we approach it in a very human way, right? If I'm trying to sell you something, I'm selling you. You ain't the logo, you know, you're the person, you're Lance. I need to sell you. And if I'm doing B2B, which we've done some B2B, if I'm doing whatever, I need to sell you. You know what I mean? I need to make sure that you understand what we're about, and et cetera. So when we talk to our clients or our prospective clients, it's like, look, you need to understand the person you're connecting with. And it doesn't matter, again, in a B2B context, they may be the middle manager, still has to get approval from the senior manager, but you're still dealing with them as people. Now you have to have a different strategy, but you still have to connect with them as people, as relationships. And so the principles that we work with are not about like, I understand how to sell pharmaceuticals, but I don't understand people. No, we understand people. Is how we look at it, right? And so because of that, how do we need to understand your business as a client. We need to understand what your drivers are, how are you going to make money, what your barriers are, etc. But what we bring to, and that's for any industry, but what we bring to it is people. We'll never understand your industry as well as you do. You work in that 100%. But we're going to understand it pretty well, and we're going to understand how to connect with that human being on the other side that needs to make a buying decision around what you're offering. Wow. So for us, yeah, it doesn't really matter what the industry is, you know. Yeah.
What do you see for the future for your company?
I don't know. If I see a future, we're good, yeah.
Or you see a future?
Yeah, like, I mean, look, I think how do I say it? I think that the principle for me is more just so long as people are happy and growing, we're doing good, right? Like, of course, everyone has ambitions, but I try to balance my ambitions with, you know, enjoying what we're doing today and leaving it at that. But, you know, if I could have exactly the way that I see it develops, again, I don't think our company in principle, we don't need 100 people here. We don't need it. I don't see the point, because then you have actually 100 people, you have 5 groups of 20, and they won't mess with the other 5 groups of 20, right? Like that's how it goes down. But so I need one group who's doing great work here. Now I can take that and I can put that same philosophy into New York. I put that same philosophy into Singapore. I can take that same philosophy and put it into Australia. So my vision, how I want to develop, is I want sort of high performing teams in multiple markets, right? Okay. So maybe it's 25, 35 people in any given office, but you could have an office of tight-knit people in Sydney, an office of tight-knit people in Kuala Lumpur, whatever it's going to be, you know? So
you do see yourself not just only doing it here, you plan on using the globe as your canvas.
Yeah, and so, yes, like,
okay.
No, and the reason why the reason why I'm laughing to myself is because I have a lot of, I'm an idealist, I'm a utopian, I believe in whatever. So the reason why it can't just be here, because I think the way that we're trying to work with marketing is intended to make marketing and as a result, society better. Because I think that, to me, the relationship principle is about how do I create a value, a mutually beneficial, valuable dynamic that exists. I don't think that's the way most marketing works. Most marketing is like, I need to get some money out of this guy's pocket, you know? And so how do I do that, you know? And how do I get him to give me his money instead of them, But do you really, how are you focused on whether you've helped that person? How do you know? You know what I mean? As a business. And as that person, do they understand how you're really trying to help them? There's a massive disconnect, right? So to me, I think what I hope to do, my ambition, whether it happens literally now or 30 years from now or whenever, is to try to influence the way that we think about this, influence the way that we market, to change, you know, our perceptions, and to just build on my utopian whatever. It's also because I think that influences society, because business are a function of society, right? Like, so businesses operate this way about, yo, let me get that money. That's how society operates. That's how people think. We're not on the same page. So I need to win. If you win, it don't matter. I need to win. And I don't think that works in the long term for a healthy society. So I think if we can reframe the way, and it's a small way, but, you know, as what's that guy, Bobby Seale said, you know, what's it say? To move a grain of sand is to change the world. And it's talking about the Black Panther Party, and they move mountains. It doesn't matter how much we improve things. If I improve it at all, it's good, right? So even in just a simple marketing context, if we can make people better understand how they connect, I think that'll add more value to both partners. Companies will make more money, have more loyal consumers, but we'll also be making society just a little bit better, you know?
Wow, I think
so
you have really tied together. Go ahead.
No, so I was just saying that's just my, that's the reason why I want to grow it. It's not just about, you know what I mean? We need more offices. I want to make some degree of change, however I can, you know?
If people wanted to contact you, how would they go about doing so?
Got a website, obviously. So, you know, relativ.com, no E.
Relativ.com, no E.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll print it down. It's going to be on the podcast.
But like, you know, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is, you know?
All right.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm around.
But I want to thank you for the time that you're giving me, man. I mean, I really appreciate this. This is all good.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I think you're, you know, because I sat down and I watched some of your podcasts.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
I watched a few of them.
I'm just getting started now.
No, but I think it's good. And I think what you're doing by telling these different stories is giving a lot of people an opportunity to learn something, to enjoy, to understand people from a different angle. And also, you know, considering your track record and what you've already established in Japan, you know, you're really giving back in a lot of ways. So I think it's really good, and I appreciate it. So.
Thank you. And that's so. I mean, I've been so fortunate. I'm getting goosebumps right now because I've heard this a couple of times, and I always feel humble about that. The people closer to me are telling me that sometimes I don't understand.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want to.
Right.
But I really appreciate people like yourself and all the people that I've talked to so far, because they've come willingly, and that makes me. And I'm just trying to figure this out. Just trying to figure it out. Listen, I want to tell everyone, all of you, I want to thank you for watching this podcast. And make sure that you click like, share, and also leave a comment. Now, there's one more thing I want to tell you. We're not quitting yet, because what you're going to see on the backside of this is Cairo's going to give me a tour of his place, so I'm going to also take you around on a tour. So don't turn it off yet. We've got some more to show you. But thank you for watching anyway, if you have to go somewhere. So as I promised, here we are.
Yep. This is our office. So been here now for 3 years. 4 floors. There's a basement, basic kitchen area, and then 2 working floors and a conference room floor, plus the rooftop.
All right.
Take a look.
Let's do it.
So to be honest, actually something I was really, one of the things that makes me happy is just the sign. Just seeing our name, you know, as you build a company. And this is the main lobby. There's 3 conference rooms, so we meet clients, do meetings. Of course, in the COVID environment, there's not a lot of people around every day, but still use the space. This is, as you mentioned,
This is it.
an award we got last year from Campaign Asia, 2020 Japan Korea Consultancy of the Year. So obviously proud of that.
Let me.
Do you want to go check out the basement? We'll take a look. Basement's actually my favorite place in the office, so we'll see. Again, right now, not a lot of people there, but still all good. Steps. So between each floor, there's like a bathroom. This one, they're mainly co-ed. We have a men's room only just between the basement and the first floor. And then the rest are co-ed with a women's room only at the very top. This is the kitchen, but not much to see, so I'll spare you guys. But let's take a look at the basement. So this is the basement area. We use it mainly for team meetings. This is actually a conference table, but it also doubles as a ping pong table. So it has been used for that. We also use it sometimes when we have a team party or lunch or drinks. We've done that down here. And yeah, it was just really an open area that's pretty casual, pretty fun and easy to work in. And we tried to, like, you should see the before and after pictures because we renovated it. Because the before was really sterile. We tried to make it warm, place you can sort of chill, spend time. Like when we were in the office, if you didn't want to be at your desk, you just come down here, get some space, take a nap, do whatever work you have to do.
Cool. Let's take it on up.
All right. Jump in the elevator. Yeah?
Okay, yeah,
First-
that sounds good.
Not that you need an elevator in a 4-story building, but comes in handy sometimes. So it's actually not the fastest elevator. So floors 3 and 4 are mainly where people work their desks. Though right now, obviously in the COVID era, we only get on any given day 3 to 4 people in the office. Today's really just 2 people, so it'll be pretty empty. But I'll just show you the space so you can see the desk setup, etc. So this is the 3rd floor. We're technically our client partners, which is the relationship managers between ourselves and the clients, the program management team, and the design team normally would sit. And again, depending on the day, you might see some people here, but today's not that day. But this is just a general space. Right now, in the COVID situation, like sort of the desks are pretty much open. So if you come in, work wherever you want, but then people come, they work, ideate, use the whiteboard. But we try to give people space anyhow, try to make it sort of comfortable versus, sort of traditionally corporate. Take a look at the 4th floor, which is basically the same layout and structure, but let's take a quick look. So this is the 4th floor, is where I normally sit. We got one other person in the office today, so she would probably be here. And yeah, it's sort of set up the same basic way, except for you have the same space, people chill, sit where you want, and we do what we do.
Now we're going to where we spoke.
Yes, the
The roof.
actually, or as we like to call it, the Sky Lounge.
Sky Lounge. Okay.
A lot of these stupid names are my fault, so I take full responsibility. So this is the roof. Like honestly, this is my favorite place, probably besides the basement. The weather's decent. I'll work up here, play some music, bring some music out. And just sort of chill, you get a view of Roppongi Hills, which is obviously quite nice, some fresh air, some couch to sit on if you want to sort of think and meditate. But it's a good space and it's really, really pleasant versus being at a desk. Especially, it's a little bit early now, in about an hour, sun starts to go down. You get a nice little sort of sunset over this way. It's pretty nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cairo, thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support.
Yes.
And I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story. So thanks, Lance.
All right, no problem.